1, 2, 3, 4. Those are numbers, but you already knew that. If you want to know what number you're going to pay each month for your car, use Kelly Blue Book My Wallet on Auto Trader. They're really good at numbers. Auto Trader.
Do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
The name's Sequel, Unequal Sequel, and welcome to the Friday edition of Unequal Sequel.
Extra. So I couldn't say it, I was laughing.
Surprised you with that one, didn't I?
You did, yeah.
I thought of that a few minutes ago. I thought, I'm going to do it, one like this, an entrance like this, and he's going to love it. How you doing?
I did love it. I was chuckling away and I couldn't get that extra out because I was laughing. I'm good, mate. I'm very good. This is an odd one for me because I'm not a massive Bond fan, and so I do not know a huge amount about Bond, but it feels like this is the right thing to do because everyone is talking about the new Bond movie and we can't review it until next week.
Yeah. Do you want to tell the audience what we're doing?
We are doing so mine and your best, worst and dream Bond movies.
God, we're clever, aren't we?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, they're all sequels, aren't they, really? So,
yeah.
You know, that's an okay thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're not a Bond fan?
I mean,
your wife
I wouldn't
is, though, right?
seek out
Anna
a Bond
is.
movie to watch. My wife loves Bond, so my wife is a big Bond fan. But if one was on telly, then I probably wouldn't turn it over. And if my wife wanted to watch a Bond movie, then I'd watch it. But I'm not kind of Just reminds me of sort of Christmas with the family kind of thing, I guess. Always a Bond movie and a carry-on film, and
It reminds me of Sundays afternoon. That's when there was always a Bond film on. I'm also not a huge Bond fan, so
okay.
This is going to go great. But I think I'm more of a fan than you. And at the moment, I'm working my way through them. Me and my wife did this film on a Monday when we have we've done like a marathon. So we did all the Marvels on a Monday. We called it Marvel Mondays. And now we're going through the Bonds, and we've just watched the second Roger Moore one.
I quite like Live and Let Die, but that's
Live and Let Die is great.
That's mainly because of the theme tune.
Yeah, that's what I remember. I also might be one of the first Bonds that I ever watched was Live and Let Die. So, shall we crack on with this?
Yes.
I'm going to ask you because I'm the host.
All right.
Rich, what is your best ever Bond?
My best ever Bond, which might not be the best Bond, but is my best Bond, is Skyfall.
Oh, okay. Why?
A number of reasons. One, quite flippantly, it's essentially Home Alone but for grown-ups.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my jokey reason. But my real reason is Javier Bardem is the best Bond villain ever. I think he's brilliant. I love Silver. I think he's a fantastic Bond villain. He's gruesome. He's got a revenge plot. His story goes deeper. He knows about MI6, so it makes him more dangerous. I think he's fantastic. I think Javier Bardem is a brilliant actor, and I think he is amazing in this role. His relationship with M is creepy and brilliant, and mirrors kind of M's relationship with Bond, and it makes you feel like, can Bond trust M after what she did to Silver? Is history going to repeat itself? I love that kind of extra layer to it. I really like Sam Mendes. I think he's a great director. I like what he does with Bond, and it feels different. It's not just an action movie. It feels a bit more than that. You see kind of Bond's cracks. Like, he's not perfect. He's not that super slick spy. He is breaking at the edges, and it shows Bond as a more human kind of character, but it also kind of re-establishes some of those classic Bond things as well. So I think what happened with the Daniel Craig Bonds is they kind of, obviously they went back to Casino Royale and they kind of started again almost, and they kind of made Bond but grittier, but more realistic. And I think what Skyfall does is it brings in Moneypenny, it brings in Q, it brings in the gadgets, brings back the DB5. It brings in all those kind of Bondy things, but in a way where it still feels like it's for grown-ups. it's still not quite a comic. And yeah, so I think it's fun, but also grown up as well. And I just like the bit where where all the bad guys are invading the house and they've set traps for them all. I like it. I think it's a great movie, not just a great Bond movie, but a great movie.
So you're a fan of Daniel Craig later Bonds than you are earlier Bonds?
I don't know if I took them as a whole, Daniel Craig Bonds, then I don't know if I prefer them as a whole to others. I don't know. It's hard because Roger Moore was my Bond growing up, but I don't think he's the best Bond. Right. So normally you think your Bond is the best Bond. I actually quite like On Her Majesty's Secret Service, the George Lazenby one. I don't dislike it. He's not a great Bond, but I think it's actually quite a good film. But it's a good film despite Lazenby, not because of. And I kind of like there are Pierce Brosnan film Bonds that are really good and really bad, and nothing kind of in between. I don't know. I don't know if Daniel Craig's my favourite Bond or not. I don't think I've got a favourite Bond. I'm not a big Connery fan. I'm not like those early Bonds kind of just pass me by a little bit.
As a man who's just watched the Connery ones, I agree with you. Weirdly,
yeah, that's probably like heresy. There's probably somebody screaming into their Spotify right now, going in a Partridge style, saying, "Stop getting Bond wrong."
He's great in Doctor No, but by the time we get to the last one, which was Diamonds Forever,
Goldfinger. I think
Goldfinger's a good one.
Goldfinger's my favourite Connery one, which is a lot of people's favourite of all time. So that's
understandable.
That's reasonable, I guess. I mean, yeah. So in a way, because Daniel Craig is Bond in my favourite Bond film, and probably my second favourite Bond film actually is probably Casino Royale as well. But
okay,
I'm one of the people that like the original Casino Royale because you take it as a comedy and not a Bond movie.
Yeah, I've never seen the original one.
It's funny. It's got Peter Sellers in it. It's funny. But it's not a Bond movie.
No. So when you went to see Skyfall, how pumped were you? Were you? Or were you like? Really. Were you dragged to see it? So you were surprised?
I think I saw it in the cinema. I think I saw it at home. Yeah, because I'm not fussed about Bond, so I wouldn't normally kind of make the trip to go and see it at the cinema. I don't think I did. I think I probably watched it at home with my wife. Because my wife is not a fan of going to the cinema. She likes to watch films at home.
Yeah.
So because this is a movie that she would have wanted, I think we probably watched it at home with all the windows and curtains shut with popcorn and also it came out in what 20.
I want to say 2012 because it was around the time of the Olympics. Or was that?
2012? No, that was Casino Royale. Was 2012, wasn't it? Let's have a look. When did Skyfall come out? Hang on. Yeah, no, 2012. You're right. Skyfall was 2012. Casino Royale was 2006. Yeah.
Because he jumped out the helicopter with the Queen, didn't he?
I wouldn't have watched it with my wife because we hadn't met then. So maybe I don't know. I don't know when I would have watched it.
Oh well, but that's a good pick. I agree. I think that would be high on my list, but it's not my best ever Bond.
So what is your best ever Bond then, Dave?
My best ever Bond is GoldenEye.
Okay.
Ba, 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 ba.
That would be my choice for best ever Bond computer game.
Well, it's also my favourite ever computer game. GoldenEye for me just works on every level. It's entertaining, like the tank chase through St. Petersburg. It's got the best opening of any Bond film when he jumps off the dam. It's got a great bad guy, Sean Bean. It's got strong.
I'm invincible. That's not Sean Bean, but that's also a bad guy. But,
that's twist. Boris. It's got good locations. It's got a nice. I don't know. Like Bond sometimes travels the world. It's got nice locations. So you're going from like northern Russia where it's really cold to wherever it is, Hawaii where the big satellite is. The music's great. It's got Tina Turner doing the soundtrack, doing GoldenEye.
That is a good soundtrack. Yeah.
And I thought just at the time. It came out in 95, so I didn't see this in the cinema. GoldenEye, I definitely didn't. I saw it when it came to VHS, which is cool. Probably rented from the movie store. The movie store? Blockbusters, whatever it's called.
Blockbuster, yeah. I think I did see GoldenEye at the cinema.
You lucky guy.
Because that was kind of Bond starting again, wasn't it? Almost. That was
Well, yeah, because at that point, my experience with Bond is my dad showing me Bonds or Sundays, and a lot of them I didn't. I liked some of them. The later ones, definitely. I like Live and Let Die. For some reason I loved License to Kill, the Timothy Dalton one. That was on a lot in our house, but some of the early ones, not massively. And when I just found it different and exciting, and the action and the noises, and it just felt newer to me and relevant.
Yeah.
Where some of, because obviously I was 10, 11, 12 when I watched it. Some of the 60s, the 70s ones, I just couldn't connect with very well. Plus, I've watched some of these early Bonds now. I still could not tell you the plot.
No.
You know, they love laser beams.
Yeah, that's true. I definitely saw this one at the cinema, and I had a poster of Isabella Scorupco on my wall as a teenage boy. So I'd have been like 14 when this came out. So yeah, I was a bit kind of like, oh, hello.
Ladies. They had a good name. What was it? On a Top? Something On a Top was one of the bad guys.
Xenia On a Top, yeah.
Classic Bond there. It had cool cars. I don't think they had Aston Martins at this point, because it was probably BMW or whatever it was.
Yeah, this was before the invisible Aston Martin, wasn't it?
But yeah, and Brosnan, I think, is a great Bond at the time. He's a good-looking man. He looks like Bond. He acted like Bond. His little quips were good. It just ticked every box for me that most Bond films didn't at that point, and some of them still don't.
Yeah.
I could watch every time GoldenEye's on TV, because I don't seem to own it. I end up watching all of it. I just figure it's a great film, and like you said, the computer game was fantastic.
Most of my memories of the film, I think, are from the playing
game.
GoldenEye on N64 with you and our friends at university.
Yeah.
And before that too, like with other mates and stuff. But yeah, I think a lot of my Bond memories come from playing Golden Gun mode.
But yeah, where's GoldenEye lay on yours? Middle somewhere?
Definitely top 5. Yeah, definitely top 5.
That's good.
So yeah, it was. I did think about GoldenEye actually when we were talking about best Bonds, but I think Skyfall just has that edge, because I like Bond showing a bit of human side and slightly cracking up. Because to me, Bond was always like a bit of a cartoon character, because I grew up with the Roger Moore Bonds, when essentially I think Roger Moore decided to play Bond as someone who had so little left in his life that the only slight modicum of joy he got was from sleeping with women and jumping out of aeroplanes.
Well, his last Bond outing was that he was 57.
Yeah,
which,
there was no joy left in that.
You don't really want to see him running around with 20-year-old odd. And the bit when in Live and Let Die, I watched the other day, when he faked all the cards to be lovers to get a girl in bed, and But still, I love Live and Let Die, and I think Roger Moore's better than Connery. I'm going to say I'm already enjoyed the Roger Moore films more than I think I enjoyed the Connery films.
The later Roger Moore films are not.
Well, that's where I'm going to now. I think I've got next is Moonraker and Octopussy and The Spy Who Loved Me.
Octopussy's bad. Octopussy might be one of the worst. I think objectively one of the worst. Not my worst, but objectively one of the worst. So getting us onto that, I guess we should talk about our worst.
So let's talk worst Bonds. I'm going to write yours down. So what is it?
I think the question should be, should be framed slightly differently, as in, what is the worst ever Bond film and why is it Quantum of Solace? Because I think that should be everyone's worst Bond film.
It's not mine.
It's
so
poo.
Okay, why is it your worst one?
Again, and this is why it was hard to say Daniel Craig is my favourite Bond, because he's in my favourite Bond film and also my least favourite Bond film. It's just, the villain is so weak. Like,
villain is rubbish.
His name is weak. He is physically weak. The plan he has is weak. He is just rubbish. There's not a single one-liner in this whole film. There is no sense of humour. In fact, there's barely any dialogue.
Well, do you know why that was?
No, but the script must be about 10 pages long.
It's because they filmed it in the middle of the writer's strike, so Daniel Craig was
sense.
Daniel Craig was writing his own dialogue at this point.
Really? That makes sense.
So they went into this without a script, pretty much.
Well,
and it shows. Yeah.
It really shows. Because there is nothing. There's no fun. There are no quips. There's no one-liners. There's no intrigue. There's no twist. There's no nothing. There are a lot of action sequences, and regular listeners will know enough now that I'm bored of kind of plain action sequences. I need a bit extra, and the Bond girl is boring. Camille, she's dull. I think, it's just
Quantum
really
Solace is
sad.
just nothing. I cannot tell you, because I haven't watched it probably since it's released or a few times after. I can't tell you anything about it. It's in the sand.
Once,
There's some sand.
Don't
There's
ever
a
want to
glass
watch it
building
again.
at the end that blows up a lot, I think.
Yeah.
That's
all I remember is it being I remember being very bored. I remember there being no dialogue. I remember being very disappointed in the villain.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Like a nothingy villain, and the watching it going, I thought we were supposed to be treating female characters with a little bit more respect now in Bonds. I thought we were supposed to be trying to pass the sexy lamp test, or whatever they call it. For those of you who don't know what the sexy lamp test is, it's essentially, could a female character in a movie be replaced with a sexy lamp and it not affect the
I hadn't heard of that,
movie
but
anyway?
cool.
Most Bond movies, essentially. We're supposed to be getting into Bond films where female characters do pass the sexy lamp test, but apparently not in Quantum of Solace, because she does.
So
nothing.
have you got
quite literally,
in front of you? Have you got
nothing.
the plot of Quantum of Solace? You can just read out to me.
The plot of Quantum of Solace is as follows. James Bond and M sniff a shadowy international network of power and corruption reaping billions as Bond pursues the agents of an assassination attempt on M. So it follows on from Skyfall, essentially.
It
It's
starts
Skyfall.
from the end of Skyfall, doesn't it? No,
Yeah,
the end
it
of
does, yeah.
Casino Royale,
So-
probably.
No, it's after Skyfall, isn't it? Quantum of Solace is after Skyfall.
No,
right?
because it goes good, bad, good, bad. So it's gone Casino Royale.
No, you're right. It's after. You're right. It's after Casino Royale. Sorry. I'm thinking of Spectre, which is also which would again be in my bottom five. Anyway, yeah. So it follows on from Casino Royale. Bond's trying to find out who was behind the assassination attempt on M, and all roads lead to Dominic Green.
There he is, Dominic Green.
Dominic,
the guy
Green.
who owns the grocery
Like,
on the corner.
Even his name is boring. Anyway, a world-renowned developer of green technology. Yeah. That definitely sounds like a supervillain. I think the same supervillain as in Cars 2. And we all know how good that
we know
movie
how you
is.
feel about that.
Green's an artist piece of work, is intent on securing a barren area of Bolivia in exchange for helping a strongman stage a coup there. Again,
no idea.
Boring fucking plan. I don't care. The CIA looks the other way, and only Bond, with help from a retired spy and a mysterious beauty, she's not that mysterious to be honest, it's just boring, stands in Green's way. M wonders if she can trust Bond or if vengeance possesses him. Can anyone drawn to Bond live to tell the tale?
No.
And does anyone care? That's the question. The tagline to this movie? The tagline to the movie is, have regrets, get revenge. Even the tagline's boring. It may as well be like, watch some paint dry.
Yeah.
It's more fun. My only regret is watching this piece of turd. That's how bad it is. And I'm saying that having seen Octopussy.
Do you feel
which is
like
a
there's
bad
more
movie.
bad Bond films than good Bond films?
Yes, I do. Yeah, but I think I think the thing with Quantum of Solace is it's not badly made. Whereas I think some of the earlier Bonds feel like they've been made with cardboard sets, and they didn't have a lot to work with.
We always make that comment when they show a hotel room. It's the same hotel room, but they put if it's in Asia, they put like an Asian poster on the and that's about it.
Yeah. I mean, Bond basically relies on hotels. Bond is keeping the hotel trade going on his own. But yeah, I mean, Quantum of Solace, they clearly had the budget to make something good. There's some of the set pieces cost a fortune and look great.
No.
But nothing links them together. There is no story whatsoever, and that's kind of why it's the worst Bond film. Also, worst theme tune of all the
Was
Bonds.
this the Alicia Keys,
Like,
Jack White?
Alicia Keys, Jack White, Another Way to Die. It sounds like someone taking out the bins. It is a mess. Like, it is an absolute mess. It's awful. So yeah, all rounds, worst Bond film. So I expect you to say the same.
I'm not going to say the same. I'm going to say, and just like you, my favourite Bond is a Pierce Brosnan one, and my worst Bond is also a Pierce Brosnan one. Die Another Day.
I had a feeling it would be Die Another Day.
I hate that film. I hate it. I think every aspect is tossed. It's absolutely shit. And what makes me hate it the most is when he's surfing on a part of whatever he's surfing through a tidal wave, and it just looks appalling.
It looks like it's been done on a Nintendo.
And there's a lot of stuff in Bond,
like 8-bit.
A lot of stuff you can think, oh, that's silly, but I believe it. It's hyper reality. There's absolutely no way I can buy that at all. I just remember watching it and thinking, this is rubbish. The Madonna song is also rubbish for it.
Yeah, true.
If you were looking for a good Madonna song for a film, go to The Spy Who Shagged Me, Beautiful Stranger, not Die Another Day for...
And also, I should say, Seven Nation Army by the White Stripes was rejected as a Bond
Was
film.
it?
And then they accepted that utter pile of shite.
Unbelievable.
Anyway.
But I think the bad guy's rubbish. The Invisible Car.
Well, I mean, we all know the Invisible Car is nonsense.
And then obviously they had John Cleese as the new Q in this one. I just hate it. Mainly because of that surfing bit. And I also think everything looked a bit shit. Like even the Ice Palace, it looked like a really crappy set. And normally the Bond films have really
like
high production values.
Yeah, it looked like they stumbled across the old set they used for Superman's Ice
It
Palace
did.
and gone, oh, this'll do.
Yeah.
We don't have to build anything new. We'll just use this.
And the bad guy, like I said, mostly forgettable. It was, I can't remember his name, but it was all about North Korea, and there was diamonds, and there's a guy with diamonds in his face. And, this is not Rosamund Pike's in it. Halle Berry's in it as Jinx when they tried to reintroduce a female spy, and there's all rumours afterwards that she was going to get her own spin-off, but this did so badly that one, it killed off Bond for a while, killed off Pierce Brosnan's Bond, killed off that rumour. And obviously Casino Royale came out a few years later after Jason Bourne come out and reintroduced, real gritty fighting and stuff like that. So, And when did it come out? I remember seeing it in the cinema. I sat very close to the front, 2002.
So just before uni.
It was just before uni. I remember going to see it with college friends.
I definitely didn't watch it at the cinema. I definitely didn't. I don't think I watched it until after university, so I probably didn't watch it till late 2000s. I probably watched it as part of a Bond marathon of just watching all the Bond movies.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to getting to that bit. I can't wait to get to GoldenEye. I'm so excited to get to that. And then I'm like, after that, there's Tomorrow Never Dies, The War Is Not Enough, and this one. And I think Pierce Brosnan's a great Bond. I just think the films he's in are not great Bond films. Like, War Not Enough, you got someone called Dr. Christmas or something. Denise Richards playing.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
It's not good casting. I think that's mostly the problem with most of Bonds is the scripts. But yeah, it's still set up and it's so loved by so many people, and everyone's always looking forward to the next one. It's like some of them have you forgot how bad the last film is. It's like a magic power that you forget that most of the films have
sort
been.
of get Stockholm syndrome a little bit. And
I'm looking forward to the next
Bond
Bond.
tricks you into loving it.
Why are you looking forward to the next Bond? It's 70% of not great films. But when Bond's good, it's really good. Like GoldenEye, Skyfall, Casino Royale. I say Dr. No, Goldfinger's good. I like License to Kill.
I think Bond has to have an edge for me. I like to see that Bond is a human and not a caricature. And
I can see why you don't like Roger Moore then, because at the end
he's very caricature.
So he saw it more as a comedy. He said that
he did, yeah.
As comedy didn't.
And I don't hate that, to be honest.
I like that different eras have different vibes. I like that. No problem.
I can take Bond as being a comedy, like a pure comedy. I could take Bond as being realistic and gritty and falling apart at the edges. What I don't like is the road in between of,
No, I get you.
It just makes it a bit nothingy.
Yeah, I agree. So Quantum of Solace for you. I like that so far. Nothing is the same. I'm worried to say what your
no.
dream Bond will be.
Well, so it would normally be a dream sequel, but I think mine is actually a dream prequel.
Oh, okay. Well, isn't that Casino Royale?
So No, it's not. This is probably going to fall into my not necessarily loving Bond. Is my dream Bond?
He's
prequel.
dead at the beginning.
He's not in it. It's not a Bond. So my dream prequel is essentially a prequel to Skyfall and is all about Silver and his betrayal by M.
I think that would make a good film. Okay.
Silver is an MI6 agent in Hong Kong. Yeah, no bonds. Silver is an MI6 agent in Hong Kong. He's essentially Bond.
Yeah.
M is his commanding officer, and he does something wrong. She ends up sacrificing him to the Chinese to get prisoners and a smooth transition of power over Hong Kong. And almost like in 24, when Jack Bauer is sacrificed to the Chinese and gets taken off, that's kind of like where I would end it.
Okay, cool.
You know, that would be the...
Shall we discuss casting? Would you keep Bardem?
Oh, I would 100% keep Javier Bardem.
Okay.
Definitely.
Would you have it?
Although...
Judi Dench, and would you de-age her? Or would you have a younger someone play her?
I hate de-aging. Maybe I couldn't keep Javier Bardem, though, if we were trying to play them younger.
It depends how long ago was it? How does it say in Skyfall? How...
86 to 97 they were in Hong Kong.
Okay.
So
enough time, yeah, you could cast younger if you wanted.
You could cast younger.
But Bardem is
so I think
quite
I'd probably... Yeah, I wouldn't want to lose Javier Bardem because he's so good.
You're going to have to de-age.
But I also don't want to de-age anyone. Yeah, that's a tough one.
Do you have a dream Bond theme you would sing?
Oh, that's interesting. A dream Bond theme. Oh, I don't know. That's a tough one. I'd have to think on that a bit more. Maybe something a bit different. You know, like Chris Cornell did a Bond theme.
Yeah, and wasn't named after the Bond theme film.
No film. No, well, yeah. Neither was the Jack White and Alicia Keys one, and that's So maybe something like the Chris Cornell kind of one. So maybe
do you have a name for it?
Maybe like a Dave Grohl Bond theme.
Do you have a name?
And what? A name for the movie?
Yeah, name for a Bond film. I mean, they're easy to come up with.
I think you'd call it Silver. It's because it's not a Bond film. Maybe you'd call it Silver.
This sounded good, Rich.
I mean, I would watch it. I would definitely.
Okay, director?
Because I'm almost more interested in... Sam Mendes is director, definitely. I am more interested in villains of Bond than I am in Bond.
Yeah.
So I think I care more that there's a good villain than I do about anything else. And Javier Bardem as Silver is the best villain. And so I want to know more about him and how he came to exist. I would definitely get Sam Mendes back because I think he does such a good job of Skyfall.
Bond Girl? Ooh, as in Silver Girl?
That is a tough one. Yeah, Silver Girl. Maybe like... Because they're in Hong Kong, aren't they? Maybe like Awkwafina would be a really funny kind of different kind of Bond.
Yeah.
Like maybe like watching like Shang-Chi the other day. Like maybe that would be a good kind of different.
That'd be
Bond
interesting.
Girl. I don't really like the principle of a Bond girl because I don't like the whole.
They're there to be
female
set
characters are just
yeah.
Exactly. I don't want any sex essentially in this movie. I don't want
no sex. I'll write that down too.
Yeah, no. Yeah, none of that kind of. Yeah, well, Bond's not in it, so there doesn't need to be, and it's not about that because the relationship is between Silver and M. That's the relationship.
Well,
so M essentially is the Bond girl, really.
Yeah. Would you keep it all in Hong Kong? Because that's quite a good, setting anyway.
Yeah, I'd definitely keep it in Hong Kong. It has to happen around that time, around like 97, when Hong Kong's handed over to the Chinese.
Yeah.
And it has to be. It's almost an M movie as well because it's more about M's betrayal than it is about Silver's kind of what leads to his revenge. M's kind of being torn at. Obviously, there's this agent that she feels a lot for. She feels very motherly towards, and has a lot of responsibility for, but has to kind of sacrifice him.
Yeah.
And whether it's made to see in Skyfall, it's made to seem like she's very cold, and she does it very coldly, and she kind of cuts him off, and that's it. But I think maybe we explore a bit more of that in this movie to find it's actually really difficult for her to do, and it humanises Em a little more.
Yeah, that sounds good, man. That's a lot more serious than what I'm about to say to mine is.
I should have thought about things like the theme tune a bit more.
Well, I'll tell you that I've got a
story.
story on mine.
Okay.
So my dream sequel for Bond, right? I'm going to take you back in time. It was 98, 99, and it's my GCSEs. For DT, I decided to make a 3D point-of-sale display board, right? You know what one of those are? Put in video stores, and it's a poster for them. And I did it at that time for James Bond. I've looked at it recently. I've seen pictures. It is rubbish. Okay, I got a B. It's fine. I did a lot of work on Photoshop. This is when Macs were quite new. When they brought out the new Macs. But I got to design a poster, a name. I did a story on the back and casting. So because I put them on the poster, and it's quite funny because I called my Bond Time to Die.
Ah, interesting.
So close. So it was called Time to Die. It was Pierce Brosnan. So Pierce Brosnan. Bond girl was Sarah Michelle Gellar because at the time was Buffy. So looking back at it now, that is a bit of an age difference that I wouldn't want to see. But I was a big Buffy fan. Bad guy, Al Pacino.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Going big Al Pacino,
going full Al Pacino.
Going full on Al Pacino.
Full.
Big balls and all that, yeah. So
love it. I love it already. I'm in.
At the time, my favourite band, still one of my favourite bands, is U2. So U2 did the song. Fuck you, Rich.
I hate U2 so much.
Best band I've ever seen live. Right, so U2 did the song Time to Die. Time to Die. That kind of thing. And
didn't they write? U2 wrote a Bond theme.
They've done a Batman theme. That's what I can think.
No, they wrote a Bond theme and someone else sang.
Did they? I haven't done that kind of research.
Yeah, I'm sure they.
I know which one it is. It's Tina Turner, Goldeneye.
You're right.
Thank you. Just came in my head because I thought that's just weird. And I remember because I had to do a synopsis on the back of my GCSE project because it was a full VHS DVD box I put on there as well. This is when the VHSs were out, and it was about a man who built in some kind of contraption that could set off earthquakes. No, I'm not quite sure how the science would work, but this is James Bond, so it doesn't really matter. I was also obsessed with at this point the BMW Z3, which I think was also used in Either Tomorrow Never Dies or The World Is Not Enough. So that was also on my poster. Which, if I go back now, I would put Aston Martin, but I was pretty much obsessed with the Z3. I thought it was the coolest car ever at that point. So yeah, Pacino, bad guy, setting off earthquakes around the world.
Penis.
It did look like a giant penis. Sarah Michelle Gellar, Pierce Brosnan, Time to Die, done. It was easy.
Nice. So what's the plot?
I don't know how you set off earthquakes just manually.
I love the fact that you've made this whole Bond movie, but with no actual plot, which is exactly like a Bond movie.
I did at the time. I did at the time. I wrote it down on the back of the box, but I no longer have the box. And two, it was 98, 99. So my memory is not that good. All I remember is the poster. There was a big old face of Al Pacino behind everyone, looming.
What's Al Pacino's end game with his earthquakes? Why is he doing it? What's his motivation?
To hold the world ransom for a certain amount of money? £10 million or whatever it was. I don't know. Starting a war.
Oh, so he's Dr. Evil.
Yeah, I think I might have watched Spy Who Shagged Me around this point as well, because it was 99.
Yeah.
And Austin Powers, so I probably did lean into that a little bit heavily. But I was so annoyed when I heard the name of the new Bond film. I was so close to preempting a name of a Bond film. And if it was called Time to Die, I would have gone to my mum and dad's house and dug out this project out.
And been like, excuse me, Barbara Broccoli, where's my royalties?
Well, the way I came up with it is that I just looked at loads of Bond titles and I thought, and in one of the films, I think it Blofeld says, "It's time to die, Mr. Bond," or something like that, or "I expect you to die," or
there's one where Bond goes, "Do you expect me to talk?" And he's like, "No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die."
That's probably one of the best lines. But that's my Bond film.
That's Goldfinger, isn't it?
I'm quite easily pleased. I want lots of action. And obviously, around an earthquake, that'd be quite cool.
Yeah. Maybe you'd been watching like
Earthquake,
quite a few of those disaster movies around at that
Volcano
time.
with Tommy
something
Lee
like
Jones. 99 was a good year. 98. That's when I really started to find cinema.
Because it was 2000, wasn't it? And everyone was thinking like the world's going to come to an end in the year 2000.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was lots of those disasters.
And I think I had Steven Spielberg directing it.
Okay. Which would never happen, surely.
Because his James Bond film is Indiana Jones, isn't it? He's already said that at some point.
Yeah.
But I think if producers are listening, I think they'd rather pick your one up than my one.
And I only thought of mine this morning. Yours has had years to develop.
And yet, this is still all I've got. It has earthquakes and Al Pacino going, "Whoa!"
I do think Al Pacino, full on Al Pacino, would be a good bad guy.
I think, Al Pacino hasn't really been
that was
given license to be a good bad guy. And I'm not counting Ocean's
I think that would
13.
suit that style of film as well. It would suit that kind of bad guy, would suit that kind of Brosnan era kind of Bond.
Yeah. Well, there you go, man. That's our best, worst, and dream sequel for Bond films.
I like how the fact that my dream Bond film doesn't have Bond in it, though. I did cheat a little.
That's fine. We can break the rules. It's our own podcast.
Yeah. We will be back to talk more Bond, though, won't we, next week?
The review for No Time to Die will be happening next Friday once you've all seen it. So we might go a little bit spoilery in it, hopefully. That'd be interesting.
Not a little bit spoilery.
Full on spoilery, but be fun.
Yeah.
A little bit to make it easier for us when we review it. I'm seeing it on Saturday. When you seen it?
I haven't got a clue.
Nice.
I'm going to see it at some point.
Funny story, listeners. Rich wanted us to go see it at 1 minute past midnight, and I told him to fuck off pretty much. I was like,
we were going to go and see it at 1 minute past midnight tonight, weren't we? But yeah, it's 3. I didn't realise at that point it was 3 hours long.
Yep.
Yeah,
I can no longer do that. I have to get at least 8 hours sleep, and I'm working.
I would 100% be snoring by hour 1.
Definitely. So we'll be talking about that next week. Rich, tell them what else they need to know about us.
Oh, everything really. Obviously these are our extra episodes that come out on Fridays, but do go back and listen to our main episodes, our interview episodes, which came out on Mondays. Series 1 is all done. Series 2 starts in November. Keep an eye out for that. We have some amazing guests. We are recording it at the moment, and I'm very excited about some of the guests we've got on. It's very, very good. You can check us out on social media. Follow us on Twitter and on Instagram. We are at Unequal Sequel. And you can send us a cheeky little email, unequalsequel@hotmail.com.
He smashed it. Yeah.
3 weeks in a row. Got the email address right.
I think he knows it now.
Oosh.
Right.
You say that, but .co.uk went through my head.
I could see it in your eyes.
When I was saying it, I was like, oh no.
Panic. So listen next week, listen to this week, listen to the other ones. That's a thank you and bye-bye from me and a
bye
from him. See you next week. Bye.